Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is week five. Okay, we got two viewers. We got this is week five of your podcast. Now, of course, we have a little bit of a different show because we got different players and different people showing up. So I'm just going to drop everyone in here and introduce everyone in one foul swoop. We got myself, we got Habibi, and we got Riaz Hussein. So let me just try to drop people up. So we got Riaz who's joining in for remotely, of course, the GM of Isan. Sorry, my bad, Isan.
Summer.
Way off summer. Bro, after the shellacking I got, my head's not even on straight. Okay, so you guys are gonna have to keep me honest and just and then just I don't even know. I'm just here. I'm trying to play by the rules. I'm trying to keep it together and not lose
Well,
my cool.
apparently there is no rules because this is your show tonight, right? So you pretty much control everything tonight, Maju.
Except I don't know where the controls are. So this is our show.
That's okay. We'll be fine. We'll be easy on you.
Oh man. Okay. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Well, Riaz, welcome. Do you have anything to say to start off? Because I know I'm hoping you're going to be fire. I've had a lot of folks chiming in that they want some special guests popping in here, and I'm hoping you're going to bring some heat today, Riaz.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I'm gonna be brutally honest too, especially with my guys. So
Yes,
they know
sir.
they know what it is. Just honesty, that's it.
And Riaz is here. Sorry, we got. Oh my God! See, I'm just like totally destroying names too. Let's jump right into it. So first of all, we're gonna do the recap of the scores. So the first game we had Ikhlas versus Iman. Unfortunately, both the bottom dwellers of the season right now. Habibi, you were in it. So let's get your thoughts right off the bat.
Well, I mean, right off the bat, you're right. I mean, the picture was already painted from the very beginning. These are two teams that were actually fighting just to get into a playoff spot. So it was kind of like just a kind of a statement game for both teams. For Ikhlas, we kind of knew that they had a lot to prove, simply because of the fact that they do have a good team, but they just weren't gelling. And we knew at some point in time they were going to creep up and open up. And I think this was the game that they did it. The game was actually close, to be honest with you. Like in the very beginning, it was kind of neck and neck, but they just capitalized on their chances. They gelled at the right time. This was, I think, the first time that they had their full team. In past weeks, they really never had like a full squad. So it was good to see from their end that they had like a full squad and stuff like that. And their goaltending, I think their backup goaltending did extremely well in terms of like blocking our shots. We did extremely well in terms of like I think this game there was a lot of penalties, and we actually played better shorthanded than we did when we actually had a full force. But Adam played well in terms of holding it through between the pipes and stuff like that. But this was a game that there's a lot of penalties on both sides. We couldn't really get our lines matched up and stuff like that. But kudos to Khalas. This was a statement game for them. They did have other guys show up finally, and this was just a perfect win for them in terms of like kind of like we said last week, like getting that feel of how to win, and they're just kind of like building up from there. For us, we'll see what happens next week. But kudos to Khalas. They actually won this game fair and square.
Now, Riaz, I know you were there, hyping yourself up before the game, so I know you got to see a bit of it for sure. Any thoughts?
Well, a lot of good friends on the team. Both teams played them in Slam Cup and whatever. Known them for a long time. A lot of good players here. I don't know how they're in last place or the last two places, but they're there. But agreeing, they had a call up goalie, Adam Syed. He's young. He's really good. He's gonna be really good. I think he needs to be playing more, especially Friday nights. Maybe next season he should be a full-time goalie. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Still a kid. So then Balavi. Balavi's really good too. He's also pretty young. They have a young team, right? In class. So I think these teams are both two of the youngest teams. A lot of learning for them to do, but they're led by good players. Tayyab, RC, Junaid, Adam, Bilal. But yeah, Green, they should be doing a lot better. And I think, maybe this one's the start of that. Maybe they shoot up. last game of the season we play them, maybe that's the deciding game for them. So we'll see.
Yeah, I saw. Well, I saw Adam play. I saw. Um, sorry, Adam's first game for in Iceland, and he played really well, man. Again,
Yeah.
Ikhlas had 3 penalties, and Habibi spoke about this. Iman had 5 penalties. Ikhlas had 3, so an 8 penalty game, but shots were not lacking. We had 22 and 17 respectively on both sides. So it was fast, it was heavy, it was good. I think this is the first time Ikhlas had almost every single person actually show up. So it may actually take Ikhlas having a full squad to make a difference, because they've been limping along till now, right? They've been struggling to kind of get things going and really have that presence. But once they actually have a full team, they could be a force to reckon with. It just, we'll have to see later on if they can keep this rolling or not.
And just one more guy on Ikhlas, Dawood Habib. He's playing for the first time since he had knee surgery. So, I mean, he's getting better. It's 2 young teams, right? So I think the wins might continue to pile on for Green, especially led by a guy like Tayyip, who's really good. I think NYC needs to step up a little bit. He's a great player. He's young. He needs to step up a little bit. But, yeah, Tayyip's doing a great job of leading that team.
Yeah, now, so Habibi, now we're into week 5 with the trade deadline being a week away. I think I want you guys to just start thinking about what teams need to start doing. And we'll talk about this when we're doing the more intensive, like the preview itself. But I think we need to think about now is like, hey, what do teams need to do to get into playoff position? Now, teams that are in a playoff position and coasting along until last week were Sabr and Ehsan. So we got 2 big powerhouses, Ehsan being first, and I believe Sabr was second or third. But again, it was a 3-way tie for first. Just point differential was the only the difference maker. But this was a show upon itself. This was our game of the night, and it was a one-sided victory. So Riaz, do you want to talk us through it? You got first star, bro. So this is your show now.
Yeah, I mean, first star, I think, could have went to a bunch of people. Imran Shah played really well. He's producing on that first line with Omar and Zaid. Again, Omar, I mean, he's pretty good. He's not bad. I give it to him. He's not bad. He's getting a lot better. But I think I have to shout out our whole team. Like, as a goalie, I think Matri knows all about this too. It's your defense in front of you. So I have Amr Khawaja, Omar Asawi, Mohamed Khaler, Ali Jawad, Ibrahim, he's a young kid as well, and Abu K. Patel, really good. Also, my other brother Zahid, they all play really good on defense. Whenever they're thrusted back on defense, they play really, really well. And this week we played Hamoudi, Siamber, all guys who were offensively inclined. So we did a good job of shutting them down, and we scored 4 goals. I think Zaid scored as well. Zaid, he was under a lot of pressure. He was a GM. I think last time we played together, he had 0 goals. So. He's definitely the.
But looking at Ehsan in this game, I mean, they were also missing a lot of people too. I mean, we always keep talking about Ehsan being, that defensive juggernaut, and you mentioned, guys like Dawood and Hamoudi playing, offense for this game, but they were missing a lot of guys too. They were missing Farouk Khan. They were missing, Casentini. They were missing, a lot of their, or the marquee defensemen that would traditionally would have. Helped out a little bit, like in terms of like the goalie that they had in that too. But I mean, kudos to you guys. You still managed to get in, 4 goals on them. We keep talking about, teams that are shorthanded and stuff like that. But they did have, a couple of guys missing, but a win's a win, right? I mean, if you got guys missing, you guys, you have to kind of find it from within to kind of, see what you got to do to get a victory. But that's right. They were missing Farouk Khan and Moke.
It was 1-0 for a long time too. They kept it tight. It took us a little while to get that second, third, fourth goal, but we got it eventually. They played really well. I think a full team go against each other, it'd be a lot closer. And it could be a tie, could be a win-loss either way, but it would definitely be a good game.
And I think that's what we talked about last week, Riaz. Like when we were talking about this being the marquee game, like you guys obviously like Sabr being as offensive as you guys are, like when you guys actually have your full 16 guys, and Hassan being, that full defensive, juggernaut in terms of like when they have their 16 guys on paper, it should have been that. But hey, like we said, I mean, it's that fifth game of the season. You kind of do what you got to do to get a win, and no matter what happens, right? So
Yeah.
Now, speaking of no matter what happens, I got to give it up to Red that they did not slow down. They also had a backup goalie in Asim Qureshi. And, whenever Asim's in town, we love to have him, 6'7" of him or whatever tall he is. But guys, I got to bring this back. I don't understand what's happening this season, but this game had 27 shots and 23 shots. Like we're looking at, I think, and if I'm reading this properly, but Isan took 27 shots and Saber took 23. Like that's just absurd. How do we have 50 shots in a game? This is not. Well, I'm not talking about the Leafs taking 50 shots. I don't know if that was just an anomaly in itself. But how do we have 50 shots in a game? Like, is this defense that's lacking? Is it just forwards are more high-powered this season? Like, what's going on?
I think there are. I mean, I think defense is it's tough to get. Defensemen are hard to find. They're not easy, right? And guys, I think once you play enough hockey, especially ball hockey, you realize the second you step over that red line, you can let it fly. And sometimes it goes in, sometimes it misses the net, there's a rebound, sometimes it goes out of play, sometimes the goalie stops it. Those are the toughest shots to stop, in my opinion. I faced a lot of those stupid shots, and some of them have gone in, some of them have stopped. But yeah, I think guys.
But that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Reyes, because you're absolutely right. Like once you cross the red line, then it's pretty much, all shots are pretty much open fire. I mean, there's a lot of defenseman players or demon in Iceland that are actually, they've made a good, good career, a good living out of that. You know what I mean? Like most of our marquee defensemen in Iceland, they have really good shots. I mean, you got two of them on your team right there. You got Asawi that's got a great shot, and that's what they keep doing. So, and you're absolutely right in your other point too. Like in terms of like, just the sport in itself, a lot of guys are offensive minded, regardless. So there's not a lot of stay-home defenseman, but you have one in Amir Khwaja, who's a real marquee stay-at-home defenseman.
Oh yeah,
which is good for you goalies because he's one of those defensemen that you kind of like because he's kind of like that defenseman that kind of calms you down because he's your second goaltender.
Exactly.
Anything for that matter, right? Sure. But you're right. I mean, I don't think it's more on the defenseman. I think the game's shifted a little bit more. I think the defensemen are more trigger happy, and of course forwards are always trigger happy and they keep shooting. So I think it's more the sport has just changed to be more offensive than defensive. I guess at least in Iceland, I see.
Now I think I feel obliged to listen to Dawoud here to say, okay, he felt I'm not going to skip the review. I can't skip it anymore, but like at least I'll now move over to the next game. And I'm partial to try to avoid the next game anyways because it was a 5-1 shellacking. I don't know what to say. Like I think I talked a big game, and at the end of the day, Yakin just came out firing. Rida didn't have a chance on this. Like it was. Habibi, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was 13 seconds in, and Rida was already down 1.
Yeah, it was literally 13 seconds in. I mean, I kind of like closed the game, went outside, closed the arena, and then all of a sudden it was a goal. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was really, and I think they scored 2 goals very quickly in this one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
they scored. Yeah, Yakin scored, and then I think a minute later, or something like that. I don't have the game sheet in front of me, but I did watch this game in its entirety. And again, no disrespect towards you, Mudge, or anything like that, but it's really hard for a team to come back when the defense is not coming back, and they can't put it all on the goaltender like yourself. But when a team is down 2-0 so early in the game, it kind of sets the tone. And it really takes all 16 guys to kind of move up that hurdle. But it makes it a little bit more tough when it's, like within 2 minutes within 2 minutes of the game, right?
Yeah, so we're looking at about 13:46 on the clock. It was when the second goal was scored. So the first goal was a pure hustle play by Altaf Panchadi. Of course, man gets first star, no doubt about that. And I have to say, the man that was really working at making some of these plays happen was none other than Abdullah Shadow GM Patel. So he was the one who kind of chipped it, just threw it in front, and Panchadi just beat everyone to it and chipped it past me as well. Then Mr. Multani, who game day Multani, I guess I have to call him now, who found a way to score not one in the first period and then early in the second period as well. But I honestly, again, another shot comparison, 26-21, but just almost insurmountable. Riaz, did you see it? Were you still around to watch this game, or
I watched
what the heck do you think happened?
I watched a bit of the first half, and White's a really good team. They could probably be the best team here, and they're still missing like one guy who doesn't really show up a lot for good reason. Zach Ali. He's really good defenseman. I love the guy. If he showed up like every week, I think they probably win every week. But no, they're a good team. Altaf Panchadi. I hadn't seen that guy play before he played us. He runs like crazy. He runs like hell. It's tough. I feel bad for the defenseman. It's not easy. Multani, great shot, really good player. Omar Abdullah, I haven't seen him play. He didn't play against us when we played them. I heard he's really good, and it shows.
Yeah, I think he's a defenseman.
Yeah,
I think he's a defenseman.
He is a defenseman, but I personally think he's a steal of the draft. He is a GM caliber player taken in the 5th or 6th round. I don't have it in front of me, but he's got a shot. He's got a great hockey IQ, and he just a total all around player. But on a positive note, I want to just resound what Rizwan Malik was saying, is that Ajmal came back for Rida, and he was a key piece that we were missing. And again, he's not 100%, but it was just good to see him back out. Hopefully he didn't hurt himself more, but it's great just to see him. And and of course Tayyab wants to chime in over here. So
yeah, but I mean, it's good to see your GMs back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know Mohib is a little bit, kind of banged up a little bit. I know Ajmal is banged up a little bit too. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's like what Riaz was saying. Like, both teams are good on paper. I mean, Yakin is very good, but just you guys are just as good too. But for this specific game, when you're down 2-0 within 2 minutes of the game, it really does make it harder for the rest of the guys to kind of move in, right? So, like, I mean, that's pretty much what I saw. And we're looking at Abdullah chime in. Abdullah is one of those, underrated guys too. Like, Maji kind of touched upon it a little bit too, where he kind of like sneaks in and kind of just does the work that doesn't, go on the highlight reels, but he gets it done. So, it's good to see Yakin come out with the victory, but again, it's kind of tough for a team to come out of to come out on a win when they're down 2-0 so early in the game, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it always hurts to go down, and it's a mountain to climb. But anyways, let's get onto the last game of that, because that was it seemed like an insurmountable. Well, at least when you look at the score sheet, you're looking at a 6-0 rout, a 6-0 routing by Taqwa. That seems like a insurmountable lead. But contrary to what really you see here, it was a close game. For the first 5 minutes or so, Haya was keeping toe-to-toe pace with Taqwa the entire first 5. Taqwa was on their heels. I actually had a guy, a player from Taqwa was just telling me after, like, we didn't know how to deal with Haya. And this is Haya that is missing Lukman and Hamza Ali.
Hamza.
Yeah. So two of their 3 GMs were missing. Omar, lower your gaze, bro. Lower your gaze. But yeah, but at the end of the day, Taqwa, the powerhouse they are, riding the coattails of Zahir Qazi and of Abdul Mandra, but nothing to be taken away from your boy Habibi. Of course, I'm going to leave him to you. You can talk about your boy there, and then let everyone know.
Who's my boy? I got 130 of them. Which one are you talking about?
Shabir Patel, man. Like you're always just talking about Shabir Patel.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan. Like MP, I'm a fan. Like ever since he's entered into the league, and ever since that whole quadrant he's come in with their fancy videos and stuff like that. Like I'm a fan. I can't say anything more about these guys, and a young contingent that's it's thriving in the league, and just seeing these guys come out each and every single week, and I'm a fan. I can't say anything more, anything less. They're literally the future of where I see ball hockey going. It's good to see the youth coming up. You know what I mean? So I mean, Riaz was touching up earlier about the younger guys. Like everyone is young to me, but seeing these guys play each and every single week, especially like like not particularly any certain players, but yeah, sure, MP. I'll say it again, but they're all great in their right mind. But I didn't specifically watch this game, but I also heard the same thing too. Like the first 5 minutes, the first half, they didn't have any answers for High, and then after that, once they got their group going, then it was pretty much the Molten show after that.
Now, Riaz, you know a lot of these guys too.
Yeah.
I actually thought that Takwa wouldn't be able to stay awake considering how many young kids they have and it might be past their bedtime. But
rides issue too. You never know.
Ride issue, sure, yeah. But yeah, like give me your thoughts. Did you watch the game? Were you able to stick around for a part of it?
No, but I just go off of what Habibi said about MP. I played against him last couple of years. He's really good. And he's one of the 3 GMs, and they also have Zahir, who I think is GM caliber too. He's really good. They're a problem when all those guys are there. I don't know if Huzi was there. I don't know if he played. I don't think he did.
He was.
He was there. All right.
Yeah.
But when they're all there, they're a problem, right? Especially with Yusuf, probably the best goalie in this whole thing. He's really good. If you can't score,
played really well.
If you can't score a goal on them, all they need to do is score 1 goal, and that's it. Then he'll back up the rest of the game, right? So.
Now, there was some rumor, and I don't know if anyone in the chat can answer this, but there was something about what Huzaifa Pachbaya had to do to make sure he could come to the game. I don't know if it was a spouse not letting him or something or whatnot. But
shots fired. Tell us.
I'm trying to find out, man. If anyone has the deets, Abdullah, Shadow, GM Patel, you got your eyes and ears everywhere. So if anybody's got the deets, just drop it in the chat or let me know, and I'll definitely I'll definitely share the wealth because the inquiring minds need to know this. But anyway, so
that's another show.
One thing
we'll stick to hockey
about Gray. They got a lot of young guys on their team, like Adam Shake, Adam Poncho, a lot of young guys, a lot of good players. Maybe they shake it up that way, get a few more veterans, and that's a team that usually gets veteran guys on their team, right? So maybe they trade them, a lot of good young players. Maybe they keep them. I don't know, and they try to get something going, but
or just add more Mullocks to that team, right?
There you go.
There's trade bait around here, but anyway, speaking of Takwa, we have the player of the week, Hopo's player of the week, coming right from Takwa himself. So he, I believe, had 3 goals, and I'm just trying to make sure, but just 3 goals, that's all it was. Nothing more than that. He couldn't find an assist or anything like that, but just 3 goals of the team 6. But I got to give it up to all these Molten guys, man. Their videos, they're just lights out. And will anyone dethrone the consistent and the constant Molten guys getting player of the week?
Gujaratis are the best hockey players, man. I don't know what to tell you guys, but they're the best.
Well, it's not going to be any Arabs, I'll tell you that. So.
What, you're counting out Kesantini already? I thought, is he the Arab?
Oh, God. Yeah, he is. But, I mean, just talking about Zahir himself, I mean, Riaz, you touched upon him earlier. You're saying that he's one of those Molten players in that contingency of guys when they're all on. Yeah. They're all, they all cause havoc. But, congrats to Zahir. He's obviously one of those players aside from the usual suspects. And, with a game, getting 3 goals in a game is not it's not an easy feat, especially against a team like Hayas. So congratulations to you, and on behalf of the sponsor, congratulations. And when you see me tomorrow, make sure you come see me. I got something for
you. Now we do have an unfortunate drop from the league and waiver alert. So Omar Dean had to withdraw from the league due to an injury from Ikhlas. So Green loses Omar Dean, but did pick up Abdurrahman Butter, through the waivers. Subsequently, he was claimed by Iman, and in compensation, Taha Azhar now goes to Ikhlas. So
Correct. So what happened here is Omar Dean dropped out. Ikhlas wanted to bring in Abdurrahman Batar into the league. There is a process in terms of like for new players that enter the league, they have to go through the waiver process. Through the waiver process, because Iman, they have one of the early rights to claim any players that are entered into the league. They subsequently have they claimed Abdurrahman and in essence gave Taha Azhar in compensation. So I think it's a fair trade between two players. One player obviously brings a little bit more of an offensive mind than the other. But again, these are two teams that needed to shake it up early. And hopefully, inshallah, those two players will make a difference on their teams, inshallah.
yeah, definitely, and we can actually jump right into the first game next week because this does feature our players, or at least the first couple of games do. So our game Iceland Game Day is brought to you by Cottage on the Hill. Reach out to them on Instagram to rent their cottage, and it's a beautiful place. So just check them out. But in terms of our first game, and this is where we see this a little bit of a shakeup. So now Iman got rid of Taha Azhar, had to send Taha Azhar.
I would say got rid of.
Not got rid of, had to send him away as compensation. So they do lose that defensive presence, but they gain the offensive prowess of AR Butter. Now, Riaz, you're in this game, bro. I don't know if you're looking out for AR. What's going to happen if you said that you play, a lot of guys from Iman. Do they know your weak spots, and how are they going to approach you? That's the. I think right now I can easily say that.
Tell me. I need to know.
they all know what I can and can't do. They all know what I can't do. So it's up to Junaid to let his guys know and let them try to expose it. But there's a lot of guys in that team. Hood, Mohamed Saleh, he's really good. Adam, Bilal, all great players, right? I think Bilal might be playing defense. Also Mokazi, Abdullah solved me twice. I don't know about that.
There's also
he scored
like
on you
me
twice.
too.
So Abdullah Patel said he's the only guy who scored on you twice. Now Habibi is the X factor. He'll just shoot it from anywhere and everywhere. So you got to make sure you're covered for that. But I think from the get go, Habibi, you're in this game. I want to get your thoughts.
Well, I mean, and I say this all the time. Every team, no matter what team you play, has a weakness.
Yeah.
And just like our team has a weakness, Sabr also has a weakness, and that's why we have very talented GMs that are able to dissect other teams and find out what that weakness is. You know what I mean? And for Sabr, they got, obviously with Reyes in net, it's they got great goaltending. Their defense is there, and obviously their scoring is there. We got our game cut out for us. I mean, Sabr is in first place for a reason. But again, it's really up to Junaid. And I'm sure we have a lot of confidence in Junaid in terms of breaking down Sabr's weaknesses. And I think one of them obviously is really capitalizing on our speed and really breaking down your defense and just kind of getting it in there. I mean, we got guys that can run. You run down that list, Riaz, you've mentioned them. You got Hood, you got Bilal, you got, Mohamed Saleh, you have Junaid. All those guys are run and gun hustle type of guys. And I think for us, if we capitalize on that, I think we should be okay. And at the same time, we have our own weaknesses, which I'm sure that you guys are able to dissect. But every team in Iceland, every team in hockey that you play throughout your careers or whatever you want to call it, there are weaknesses. You just have to basically play fundamentally sound and just really stick to your gameplay from the very beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think we're going to see Adam Ahmed try to shut down the big Hussein, Omar Hussein, that's just been tearing it up. But I don't know.
Two big guys, right? Yeah.
Two big guys, but it's also the David and Goliath scenario, right? We have the big strong team being Goliath, being Sabr, just walking through teams. But we have the little guy who's you always got to watch out for an Iman. So we'll have to see. Really comes down to it.
One thing I'll say, they're taking this game. I'm pretty sure they're gonna take this game pretty personally. We know them. We're all good friends. They're gonna take it pretty personally. That's why we don't take anyone lightly from green, purple, anyone. I'll take
Yeah, and
anyone
it's
right
kind of our playoff game too.
Yeah.
I mean, you touched upon it, Maja, earlier. Like, when is the time to press the panic button? I think it's kind of like now-ish. You know what I mean? Like, you only got like a couple of games left. We are obviously one of the bottom two teams, and only the top 6 teams make it. So as of right now, we're not in the playoffs. We know it. So obviously we have that extra kick that we need to kind of like kind of dig from within to get away. So for us, it obviously means a lot more. Obviously because we're not in the playoffs as we speak right now. So it'll be an interesting game, and inshallah, hopefully we'll come up with a victory.
Now, the next game we have on tap is at 9 o'clock. We have Ikhlas and Haya. So Haya coming off of a loss, Ikhlas coming off of a win. Again, very, very close race for elimination out of the playoffs. So, Riaz, do you want to start us off on what you're going to expect to see from both teams, or who do you think is going to even win?
Well, first I got Mohamed Yusuf has to score. Mohamed Yusuf has to score. Like, I don't know. He might have a goal. I don't know, but he has to score. If they want to win, he has to score. Tayyab's done a great job. I think he's been floating between forward and defense. Mohamed Yusuf has to score. That's it. RC2. They gotta start scoring. Gray is just play defense, play hard. Watch out for Mohamed Yusuf. Yengar as well. Really good. Just don't get in trouble. Don't get into penalty trouble. If you do that, I mean, especially against Green, they have some weapons, right? Tayyab can shoot it. NYC can shoot it. You're going to get yourself in trouble if you take penalties against these guys. But I think Green will win. They need the win. And again, like I said before, Tayyab, he's leading the team well. So I think he'll put the team on his back. 2 goals.
2 goals. Wow, calling out goals. Habibi, your breakdown from the senior leadership level. Let's go.
Well, I mean, these are 2 teams that obviously need a win. I mean, these are 2 teams that are also in the bottom, so they got to find it from within to win. You got a Ikhlas that already they're coming off a win right now. So like we talked about before, they already know how it feels like to win. Haya's coming off a loss, so they might obviously come up with a little bit of fire. But I'm gonna kind of agree with Riaz on this one. I think that it might get tilted one way if on the Ikhlas side, if they can really find that groove. We played against them last week, and they were really in sync when they had all 16 guys out. To be honest with you, it was really hard to contain them, and I think and it really depends on Haya's management too. Like if Hamza, and I don't know what's going on with Luke, if he's going to be back or not or whatever. But with Hamza in there, that might be the X factor too. But I might give the tilt on Ikhlas on this one if they have all their guys, based on how they played us last week.
So just to remind everyone, and just to kind of bring it, Iman, Ikhlas, and Haya all have 2 points. So they're all basement dwellers in that regard. So this is, unfortunately, whoever gets the win here, whether it's the 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, Iman gets the win or Haya or Ikhlas, they will be in a position of a playoff spot. Now, speaking of playoff spots, I think 2 teams that are really kind of situated for long-term success is Yaqeen and Taqwa. Yaqeen and Taqwa are 2nd and 3rd respectively. Yaqeen being 2nd and Taqwa being 3rd. They're just coasting along a lot, like pretty much like Sabr is on top of the league, but 2nd and 3rd respectively. Now, Habibi, who do you think is how do you think the game's going to break down? Because this is our game of the night for sure.
Well, you know who I'm a fan of now, so I mean, like, I'm kind of. But anyways, aside from that, these 2 are really good teams. We always said it from the very beginning. Yaqeen was drafted and constructed very well from the top to the bottom. I know with Waqar on the 2nd pick, and of course with the GM trios that they have with Maz, Fahad, and Panchati, right there. That those 4 players right there. And of course with Omar Abdullah that we talked about earlier, like in terms of defensemen, like that's a very well constructed team. And again, with everyone that they have on Taqwa in terms of like the chemistry that they have, the youth that they have, and of course with Kapoor's just pretty much stopping anything that comes in. I mean his goals against average is probably one of the lowest in the league right now. I honestly think this will be a very low scoring game. But I think both teams will have their hands cut out for them. But I think Tuckwa might have the edge on this one, only because of the way they've been showing, how they've been gelling together and how they've been coming along. And again, with Joaquin, I don't know if all their players are going to be there. I've heard that one very important guy might not be there as well. But we'll leave that until tomorrow night. But at the end of the day, like I'm a fan of Tuckwa. I love the way those guys play. I'll be definitely watching this game for sure. But I think I'm going to probably, based on my sources, if all the players in Joaquin don't show up, I think Tuckwa might have the victory in this one.
Now, Riaz, you know these guys. You know both of them, both of the teams. Now we also have the revolving door of Maz. Who else? Who's Zach and Omar Abdullah. I don't think all three have played a game together. And right now, Abdullah Patel is straight up saying it's an early finals matchup. So he's counting your team out. So I want you to be brutally honest right now. Call guys out. Let's see what you got. What's your breakdown?
My guy Zach, he has to show up. Against these guys, they have 4 extremely high-powered offensive players: Zahir, MP, Abu, and Huzi. Zach needs to show up. That's my guy. But Zach, I know he's doing important stuff when he's not here. I know why he's not there. But he needs to show up. If they want a solid chance to win, I think he needs to show up. Obviously, Maz, if he's there, they have a good chance to put a couple goals behind Kapoor. That's also another problem, right? Putting a goal behind Yusuf. He's really good. I think this weighs on Zach not being there. Zach's not there. I got to give it to the Malton boys. I think they'll take this one for sure.
Okay, so we got some money on the Malton boys.
What about you, Maju?
Oh man, I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah, he's the host. He's the neutral guy in this one. Yeah.
The last game,
except the last game, we won't let you talk about the last game because I know where you want. I know what team you want to win on this one.
I think there's a reason why I might actually be repping some blue, but the last game we got the Leafs versus the Oilers, or sorry, Ihsan and Rida. Rida coming off of just inconsistency, struggling at times, were able to stop Tuckwa and have a 2-2 game with them, have a blowout the first game, but then every other game it seems like they struggle, right? So they may be due for success. Whereas Ihsan, they've been chugging along for the most part until last week, where they actually, I believe, suffered their first loss. So, and missing their GMs, of course. But Habibi, I want you, because you have been a DC 8-year contract player, but for some reason weren't this year. So, what do you think? What do you think Ihsan has to do? And really, what does Rida need to do? Because on paper, they're one of the best teams, but when it comes to play,
I think the question could be answered by the latter part of your question. It's what does Rida need to do? Rida really needs to look and really, delve in deeply into their team and look at the dynamics of their team and really use their players effectively. Hockey, actually, all team sports in general are not really based on your top line. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just the thing. You really got to spread the wealth. And Rida's one of those teams that has the pieces to kind of spread it out. I don't know what that means for Rida, but I think they got to really dig deep and kind of shuffle things around because they do have the right pieces to do what they need to do to get victories. They've shown it with Tuckwa, and we said it from the very beginning too. They drafted very well. Ihsan, we already know what Ihsan does. Ihsan is they're just kind of one of those, strong silent types. They'll just sit there and they got all the D. They got, when they have all their players there, they're pretty sound where they are. They got the offense, they got the defense, and they got the goaltending. I think the question should be, what does Rida need to do? Rida needs to really shake it up, really dig from within, because they got Bika, they got Mohib, they got Ajmal, they got Wadi. You guys have all the pieces there. You just have to figure out what you guys need to do from within. So, and of course, I might be biased, but I'm gonna have to give it to Ihsan on this one, only because I think they have it together. To be honest with you, and I think if Rida needs to really get it together in order for them to find their identity in the next 3 games, because it might be too late.
Now, Riaz, you've played against both teams. You've faced Ihsan and Rida. were you scared of, well, I'm not going to say scared, Mr. 1.0 goals against average and a 950 save percentage. So, I can't say scared by any means, but where do you think some successes lie, where challenges lie? Do you have anything to say about these two teams?
Mahib Shah and Daoud Siamber. I mean, two guys. If I'm you, I'm watching out for Daoud. If I'm whoever's in net for red, I'm watching out for Mahib. I mean, he scored on me, and he'll score on anyone. I mean, he'll score on anyone and everyone however many times he wants, right? Another thing, same thing. You can't take penalties against either team. They have 2 or 3 guys on each side who can let it fly, right? If you take a penalty, you're like, dude, you're gonna get yourself in trouble, right? So don't take penalties, play defense, and don't give any of these guys space. But if I had to give a prediction for this one, I would give it to Blue. They need to win. They need to win. Maju, I mean, if I had to put money down, I'm not going to put money down, obviously, but I'll give it to you, man.
I appreciate it. Now, what you brought up is a great little point where don't take penalties, right?
Yeah.
Rida did have a power play goal last game. That was their only goal of that game. But Rida is known to take penalties. Unfortunately, they're in the sin bin quite often and regularly. So clearly, we got to, like, Rida has to stay out of the box. And Habibi, to your point, definitely, I think they need to spread the wealth, right? You have to have a rotational player. You have to have things going every line, because otherwise, someone like DC, someone like Daoud Siamber, just so everyone knows, but he's just going to play the matchup game. And we know this. We know this week in, week out, season in, season out. He matches up against your best line. And that's
they also got a very tall Egyptian guy too, if you don't know.
I don't think I'm aware of him, but unless the man's running around with the shisha, I don't know if he's Egyptian or not.
That's my job. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, like they have Ehsan has cannons from the point. They have cannons from everywhere, but it's just a matter of which team actually shows up, right? Names on a paper mean nothing until you actually step onto the court and you show up and you play your game. Rida, just again, even against some of their losses and the way they've played, is they can't go down early. That has been not a consistent fault, but a fault that has come up time and time again. So I got to call myself out. But regardless, like, goaltending and the team defense needs to be there from the get-go, from the first few minutes, so that the confidence can build on the back end and project its way out. Because I don't know if you guys saw, the third man in burned Rida last week a couple of times, but however, that's happened again and again. The third man in was at one point was Multani. He just lasered a shot top corner to put Yakin up 3-0 last week. So, making sure that they're covering their players, they're starting from the back end. Defense wins championships. If you're not securing the back end, you're not going anywhere. So secure the back end going forward. But like you said, Riaz, you got to watch out for Daoud. That's a laser shot. If you just let him shoot from anywhere, he just loves to put it just, above the pad and below the blocker. That's the sweet zone. So, it's just going to be. Riaz, I got to talk with you tomorrow, man. Just find out how you played Ehsan last week, so maybe I can get the dub. I can get the shutout too. So we got to sit down and chat.
You got this, man. I got my full faith in you. Just don't give him space. That's it. Hamoudi, Daoud, Farouk, if he's there, don't give him space. You have to tell your defensemen, your forwards, don't give him space, right?
Now, Farouk is intimidating, so I'm pretty sure people are gonna. Well, maybe not your brother people, but like other people are like, hey, I don't want to get knocked around by Farouk a little bit. But, inshallah, he's feeling better. And inshallah, Bilal Sayed's feeling better too, because they've been missing a couple of weeks. So we'll have to see what happens. But that's actually brings us to the end of our show. But Riaz and Habibi, I want to give you guys final thoughts. But Riaz, anything for tomorrow?
One thing I want to shout out 2 guys in particular. Rehan Ghazi, we picked him in the 10th round, I think. He's been probably, besides Omer, our best forward. He hustles. He's a smaller guy, but he's not afraid to, bump a guy around. Just great player. And Mohamed Claire. I think he's always ranked lower when this season starts. That's because he hasn't put up a lot of goals. He can finish the season with 0 goals and 4 assists, but probably isn't a guy who I want playing in front of me more than him. He's really good. Also a young guy, Greenberg's guy, obviously. But he'll continue to get better. I'm just looking forward to seeing everyone tomorrow.
Now, Habibi, over to you.
No, that's well said. I mean, it's good. It's good to recognize, every player in their own right, especially the guys that don't get mentioned. So, Riaz, that's awesome. And if we can get more guys to get out, then to kind of give Maju or any of the panelists, guys that don't usually get the recognition, to get them recognized, because there's a lot of guys that, like you said, Riaz, that won't really appear on the stat sheet, but they really do a lot.
Exactly.
Like in terms of doing what they need to do, and it's really important for us to get them recognized. So yeah, I and just like you, Riaz, I'm also looking forward to seeing all you guys tomorrow, like I do every Friday. And I think now that we're kind of like on that the second part of the season, I think games will get a little bit more intense. So just kind of be careful a little bit, just kind of be safe out there, and just compete. And looking forward to seeing you guys inshallah next week.
And don't honk around
tomorrow.
And get hurt. Don't honk around, don't get hurt, guys. That's it. Stay safe, right?
That's it.
We're out there competing, but keep it safe, obviously.
Of course.
Maju, your last words now.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I'm a goalie of routine, and definitely something's not working in my routine. So I'm mixing things up. I'm trying to find what works again. But inshallah, Riaz got a lot of faith in me, and I know my guys have faith in me. It's just I got to find that faith in myself right now. So inshallah, I'm just looking for that great night of hockey. I love coming out. I love seeing everyone play. The faces, people who come up, talk to me or don't even. That's totally fine. But Riaz, I did give a shout out to Rian Kazi. I called him Gujarati on the spot last week.
I'm telling you, Gujarati guys, not only the best, the fastest, smartest, we know what we're doing, So, but the best Kazi, by the way, remember that. Shout out Mohamed Kazi, but best Kazi, Rehan Kazi.
Yeah, man. But who's our player of the week, Kazi? He's the man who stepped up, right?
Oh yeah,
so I think
there you go. There's a lot of Kazis. You can rank them in any order. Every week changes, but
Zahir didn't want to be left out, right? So I think Mohamed Kazi's kind of falling down the ranks, whereas we got some of the other Kazis.
He needs to have a big week. That's another guy for purple. He needs to have a big week. I'll see him out there. He needs to have a big week. He needs to lock it down. He's a great player, but he needs to lock it down and maybe get on the score sheet.
Well, brother,
that's the plan.
Brothers, it was great having you, and everyone in the chat. I really appreciate everyone chiming in here and there. But inshallah, we'll see everyone next week. Or sorry, tomorrow. Habibi,
tomorrow.
You got me all discombobulated.
Literally, like it's 16 hours, like 12 hours. I'll see you guys.
Yeah. So I will see you guys.
Spend it wisely. Inshallah.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Maju. Thank you, Riaz.
Thanks, guys.